Hello and welcome to the 21st installment of our War and Peace Quarantine Edition read through, covering pages 1000 to 1050. These are grown up numbers. I am Matthew Robinson. Joining me as always for the 21st time in a row, Dimitri Portnoy. Hi, Dimitri.
Hello, Matt. Hello, everybody.
We are almost done. And, most books get better as they go on. And this one does as well, but I found these 50 pages to be boring.
Well, as you said, they're for grognards.
Yeah,
They're for people really interested in warfare.
yeah.
Uh, uh, Now, these are the pages that adaptations avoid, which is interesting to me. But,
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, in the Russian 70 millimeter War and Peace, you don't have that beautiful moment of Bondarchuk as Pierre looking at his toes and his big, fat, dirty toes.
Yeah,
And I think that would have been very interesting to see Bondarchuk's toes in 70 millimeter.
sure, sure.
But Pierre gets short shrifted in most adaptations
Yeah,
in this part.
yeah.
His being a war prisoner, his developing lice,
Mm-hmm.
and his ultimately looking once again in the sky, because everybody in Tulsa looks at the sky,
Yep.
and realizing this belongs to me. I
Yeah.
belong to the universe. How could I possibly be imprisoned? Which is the spiritual climax for
Yes.
me of Pierre's journey.
Agreed. So it took becoming a prisoner for Pierre to finally be free.
Which is an irony, but also you wonder, like how is the comet that Pierre saw? How is that a harbinger for him of his liberation and of his coming into full being? And ironically, being a prisoner of war does that for him.
Yeah.
And again, that is an archetypal journey that we see in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
subsequent movies and books, including the most recent one by Angelina Jolie, who directed that.
Oh, Unbroken. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But here it's so, again, so clear and so crystallized, and so psychologically acute, and written so well,
Yeah.
that I think for the first time I actually buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't quite connect with other depictions of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, so
uh,
just to cover it briefly. So Pierre is he's basically stripped of everything, stripped of his wealth, stripped of his titles, stripped of his possessions, stripped of his existential worry, and all he has to think about now is the lice that he has, how he's going to eat that day. He's been reduced to the worries of a peasant, to the worries of somebody who doesn't have the luxury of, what's my relationship with God, and what is this comet overhead, and he's in the moment, and he finally
he's
feels
also
free.
stripped of he's also stripped of many pounds,
Yeah, well,
and,
but
and and becomes
I,
strapping.
well, they say I think he has lost some weight, but he's still big and he's strong. And they say that these were traits that he was always ashamed of in
Polite
society,
society,
but
yeah.
is now makes him a hero to them because he's a big fat strong man. So it's funny. I think he's still fat. I think he's leaned up a little, but I like that Tolstoy's pointing out that in this new sphere, once everybody always pointed out that he's fat, now he's heroic because of it.
This is there are common themes, or there are themes sections throughout War and Peace that deals with fleshiness, that deal with this kind of uh, uh, more like life and death, and muscle and fat concern.
Yeah.
Earlier, Andre saw a bunch of Russian soldiers washing naked bodies and was revulsed because he understood them to be cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
And the French word for cannon fodder involves carne, the root word for flesh, and carnage. And those parts of War and Peace are not what you associate with a novel where you picture people in ball gowns or
Yeah.
pretty uniforms in the snow. Um, and for me, this is the climax of the spirituality and also the carnality.
Yeah.
Like the flesh becoming spiritual, the spiritual becoming flesh
Yeah.
in these moments for Pierre. For me, that's the high point of these 50 pages. And
Yeah.
the rest are,
Yeah, then there's about
yeah,
25 pages of an explanation of how, the retreat of the French and the way that the Russians attacked the French breaks every rule of warfare. And we get very detailed. You can tell Tolstoy was very interested in the day-to-day tactical aspects of how a fleeing army is defeated. So yeah, we then get some fun stuff where we meet up with our old friends Denisov and Dolokhov, who we haven't seen in probably 500 pages. The
and little Petya also.
Yes, well, we're about to get to that. So Denisov, if we remember, is the wonderful dancer, and Dolokhov is the son of a bitch who, almost died to Pierre's duel. And they are now the heads of two ragtag armies of irregulars, as they're described. And their job, whereas we find out that Kutuzov hopes that, doesn't want anybody to attack them, wants just to let the French retreat, but he knows it will be impossible to dissuade the Russians from distinguishing themselves in battle and attacking the weakened, dying French army, and having lots of great war stories to tell about the French soldiers they killed. And
He has to hold them back
yeah,
because he realizes that engaging the French in battle can actually lose the war.
yes,
If the French win that battle, it'll give them back
yeah,
the esprit de
right,
corps that Tolstoy insists is what
is everything.
makes armies,
Yeah,
fall or
yeah.
rise. Not the numbers, but the spirit of the
So
soldiers.
now I feel like
And
we're entering into like a Dirty Dozen section. We're entering into like a little gritty action movie where Denisov and Dolokhov have their two band of irregulars, and they're going to join up and they're going to attack a sleeping French army. And then Petya, the handsome, foolish rich boy, shows up, and he wants to get himself some French scalps before this war is over and distinguish himself. And we find out that he was in an important battle but made a fool of himself there, as he seeks heroism. And Tolstoy usually doesn't have great plans for people who are seeking heroism, but maybe Petya will escape that. We'll find out. But
no, Tolstoy is much more on the side of Tikhon,
oh yes,
the peasant,
oh yeah,
the axe wielding
yeah.
peasant.
He reminds me of
Uh,
like what is it? Eli Roth's character from Inglorious Bastards. He's like the bear Jew or something. He's like he's
he actually reminds me of oh God, what's that Mexican Mexican American actor with long hair. Um, I'll remember
Danny
his
Trejo.
name.
Yeah,
Yes, I picture Danny
sure.
Trejo playing
Yeah.
Tikhon
No,
with,
he's a
with the
badass.
axe.
He's got like a teeth. He's got a knife in his teeth. He's stalking through the jungle for sure. For sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and also there is a very tantalizing mention of Vasilyevna, the
Yeah.
peasant woman, the peasant wife who killed
Yeah.
Frenchmen, which I wish he had showed up in these pages, and been the other, the third woman to Natasha and to
Yeah.
Maria,
Yeah. No.
as a
Agreed.
portrait of Russian womanhood and Russian femininity.
Yeah.
I want to meet her. In fact, maybe make a movie about
There you
her.
go. We'll do some fan fiction after this.
Yes.
We end on Petya being alone with a captured French drummer boy prisoner. And we will see what happens with that tomorrow. We have 3 days left in our read through. Granted, the last day will be about 62 pages, not 50, but I think we can handle it.
Yes, I think we can.
I think we can as well. We are almost to the finish line. Don't give up now. And we will continue tomorrow with 1050 to 1100.
22. Day 21 is when this YouTube video can finally get a drink.
And we could all use one right now. I will see you tomorrow, Dimitri. Adieu.
Can't
Farewell,
wait,
dear
Matt.
heart. Bye-bye.
It is a pleasure always.